Okay, so we have a bunch of different types of IP that we've been talking about. Books, games, older television shows, and older movie properties remade. What about history and myth? Like, do you feel like that's a stronger source of IP? Do you feel like it's better to work with something more modern? Do you guys have an opinion on that?
I do. I'm really disappointed at the recent attempts by big directors to do these biblical epics. I believe that there's so many stories in history and drama. I mean, and religion and mythology and so forth that, you know, people need to reach into that to get the bigger canvas world-building stories. And the failure of those films I find really disappointing because it will impact the studios and the financiers away from those as opposed to towards those.
I think if you can find a way to make the past into the present, just from a thematic place, I think, you know, so often we look back in history and realize, oh my God, we're repeating the same mistakes over and over again, particularly in America, that if you can show this historical story and realize how relevant it is to today, then perhaps there's a real reason to tell that story now. You know, you aren't just saying, hey, remember this cool thing from back then? But you're telling this story because specifically of how it relates to now. And then I think you form this connection across time and you can make it compelling. Or you can tell it in a different way. Like, I know we're here to talk about TV and movies, but Hamilton, the musical in America, is a huge, huge, huge deal because they are telling history, but through hip hop, through rap. And it's making it appealing to a whole new generation of kids who might never go to theater because it's being told in a unique fashion. So you have movies like Moulin Rouge who are telling stories, but in this really unique way, and maybe that's a way to do it. What's his
And now
name?
I will plug my next TV show.
There it is.
Which is being written by the writer of Moulin Rouge and Great Gatsby, Craig Pearce, and it's a retelling of William Shakespeare with that same style and pizzazz of those films.
It's a young, sexy William Shakespeare.
Very young and sexy.
So China is a culture with 5,000 years of history and incredible epic myths like the Three Kingdoms and the Monkey King. And they've sort of yet to be as popular in America as they have been here. And I'm wondering if, like, where do you see that happening in the future? Where do we see the creative going on that?
But aren't we at that time right now? Isn't that exactly where we are in history, where China has developed their entertainment-based infrastructure to a place where these stories are going to be told to a global audience and in ways that global audiences will relate, and they'll be hugely impactful?
I think you know, we were involved with Forbidden Kingdom, so that's loosely based off of the Monkey King story. I think it'll take time because it's, you know, for instance, when you watch Troy, right, Brad Pitt and Eric Bana and whatnot, we all know the story. A lot of people in Asia don't know the story, but when it came out, people went. Why? Because they know Brad Pitt. They know the 20 other movies Brad Pitt did before this. Eric Bana, right? They know their stories. They know about their relationship with Jennifer Aniston and with, you know, all this stuff, right? So when the movie comes out, audience like, okay, I'll buy that. The issue is, you know, we can make a fantastic, you know, Stephen Chow made a fantastic Journey to the West Monkey King story, and it worked here. But if you were to take that to Europe and the U.S., it doesn't resonate. Not that the story's not good, but people don't recognize any of these people. Why does it matter? Why do I need to support this movie with these actors? I don't know anything about them. So I think it'll take time, but it takes the audience knowing their work, collective work, knowing, you know, about what they do in life, and then getting behind them. But that takes 5, 10, 20 years, though.
Do you think it will be a Chinese filmmaker bringing that story across this way, or will it require more of a co-production between both cultures to try to make it something that connects, or can you just make it on one side and try and hope that another culture gets it? Does it have to be co-production, or can it be done all here?
I think co-production is just a vehicle that businessmen created so they can raise money and circumvent certain rules and get a higher percentage of box office. As a audience, someone buying a movie ticket in Arkansas, you have 2 hours to kill, 10 movies to choose from. You're gonna pick the one that resonates, what you think makes the most sense. Whether it's co-production, there's just Chinese actors or stories. It doesn't. Nobody really cares.
It's all about the story, right?
It's all about the story. It's all about the marketability of it, right? Why am I going to put and invest 2 hours of my time behind this movie? So it comes into everything else we talked about: the marketing, the actors, the story, and IP, and all this stuff. I think for not just Chinese films, but German films, French films, the challenge is that Hollywood has refined this filmmaking process and a generational, passing of know-how and star building and actors and writers and screenwriters over 100 years. They've really refined the process. So when you have a filmmaker like J.J. Abrams make something, it's because he grew up in this business and all the things he learned and that was passed down from him from generations and generations of filmmakers. And I think that's something that even if, from the technical point of view, a Korean filmmakers can make something that looks technically fantastic, you just don't have that history. And by the time they do something like, wow, that looks like Hollywood quality, Hollywood film is already here. They're advanced so much more again, So everybody's kind of playing catch up often because of Hollywood film had a real early head start.